Welcome everybody to Barca News. It is August 23rd, 2023, and the Operation Todibo is in full effect. It could mean that Barcelona could generate some income. Also, Abde's agents were seen meeting today with Barcelona in the Barcelona offices. And finally, Ansu Fati's father, or Bori Fati, has traveled to Portugal in order to meet with Ansu Fati's agent, Jorge Mendes. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo and welcome to Barca News' live stream, which is every Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. As always, we'll do a section of news, then we'll head to the chat section to get a discussion going and answer any questions. And then for those of you who will be watching the live stream when it ends, I will be placing timestamps in the description and chapters in the timeline, so you could skip through the discussion if you wish to. I know I always say the same script, but believe it or not, people still comment on the live stream saying, why is this video so long? And I have to explain, well, this is not a video, it's a live stream. Live streams are Mondays and Wednesdays. Videos are the rest of the week. Live streams are an opportunity for me to discuss things with people who are watching. So I know I say this every time, but yet people still ask me the same exact question every time. So that's why I have to keep saying the same script over and over again, so I apologize for that. Now, as always, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. And for those of you who are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, make sure you hit the kit bag. And for those of you who want to place any sports bet, now that La Liga has began and other leagues in the world have began, make sure you hit the Bet Us. They currently have a promotion where they're giving you 25% of the money that you deposit for free. So if you deposit $100, you'll get $25 for free to place towards any of your bets. The links for both Kitback and Bet Us are both in the description. Now, let's begin with the news. Let's begin with excellent news, actually. I'll do 3 bits of news. All of them are excellent news. And we'll talk about a current player, Barcelona player, a future Barcelona player, and a former Barcelona player. And let's start with, I don't know why, but again, I'm having a problem with this software. I'm still figuring it out, guys. So there we go. Let's start with this guy, the current Barcelona player, Inigo Martinez, who Barcelona signed during this summer transfer market as the only left-footed center back of the squad. As you know, he is still not registered and he has not played. And not only because he's not registered, but because he's still suffering from an injury. You know, he had a serious injury in his right foot last season with Athletic Club de Bilbao. He underwent surgery during the summer. He recovered. He landed in Barcelona, signed his contract, and kind of re-injured himself. Felt some discomfort in his foot during the preseason. So he's been recovering from that. And that is why Barcelona decided, since he wasn't yet healed, that they weren't going to register him yet. They were going to prioritize other players. Well, the good news is that Inigo Martinez is expected to be fully recovered for the match against Osasuna. Now, that's not the upcoming match. The upcoming match this Sunday is against Villarreal. So it's the following match, so September the 3rd. Barcelona expect that Inigo Martinez will be fully fit by then, by September 3rd. And of course, they will also expect to be able to register him because the market does close at midnight on August 31st, or midnight on September 1st, I should say. So that's the deadline to register any players, and players who don't get registered by then won't be able to play. So Inigo Martinez, we should expect him to be registered and fully fit by September 3rd, which is the match against Osasuna. Now, the second good news of today, which is about a future Barcelona player, and that is this guy, Joao Cancelo, because it looks like the Joao Cancelo saga is coming to an end, as it's now being confirmed that the Portuguese fullback will be traveling to Barcelona tomorrow, Thursday, August the 24th, and he will undergo his medical exams on Friday, August the 25th. And unless any surprises in his medical exam, it's expected that Joao Cancelo will be officially announced as a Barcelona player either on Friday, maybe Saturday the latest. But do know that he will land tomorrow in the city of Barcelona and undergo his medical exams on Friday. Now, Barcelona have mostly finalized the negotiations. They're ready to sign that agreement. It looks like the club have agreed, of course, on that one season loan that I told you about with an option to buy. But they're now saying that this option to buy could be worth around 25 to 30 million euros, not the 30 to 35, which means that this was even a better negotiations than initially expected. Because, of course, we all know Manchester City wanted 60 million euros. And to be able to get him for a 25 to 30 million euro option to buy, that's going to be a total win for the club. Now, that's not the only good part of the agreement that Barcelona were able to negotiate. The other great part about this is his salary. It looks like Barcelona have been able to negotiate to only pay 55% of Joao Cancelo's salary. So a little bit over half. The remainder, some of it is going to be the salary that Joao Cancelo has agreed to reduce. And the last bit will be covered by Manchester City. So 55% of the salary will pay by Barcelona. Another chunk will be Cancelo accepting not to reduce that part. And then the smallest or the last piece of part will be covered by Manchester United itself. Now, this is great news for Barcelona because they'll finally get a specialist in the right back position. We haven't had a good specialist since Dani Alves left many years ago. It's also good news because it shows that players still want to come to Barcelona no matter what people say in the media, no matter what people say in the comment section that the club is ruined, that Barcelona are done. That's not the case. Players still want to play in Barcelona. Joao Cancelo is a big example, willing to reduce his salary. He was only willing to reduce his salary to come to Barcelona. If Manchester City had sent him somewhere else, he wanted his full salary. And of course, Joao Cancelo is not the only example of this. You know, we've seen this time and time again since last summer. Players like Lewandowski, Ilkay Gundogan, Koundé, Rafinha, Christensen, Kessie, all players who had much more lucrative offers from other clubs, but yet they decided to come to Barcelona because players still want to play in what's the best club in the world. So, good news in regards to Cancelo. He should be expected to become a Barcelona player. Again, great deal if he works out. If he doesn't work out, we can return him next summer. No harm, no foul. If he works out, to be able to buy one of the best left fullbacks in the world for around 25 to 30 million euros, I believe it's an absolute steal. Now, we've talked about a present Barcelona player, a future Barcelona player. Let's talk now about a former Barcelona player who is Todibo. If you don't remember who Todibo is, he's a 23-year-old French center back that Barcelona signed several years ago. He was a very promising defender. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. He preferred to party over being a football player, a lot of indiscipline problems. So Barcelona ended up getting rid of him and they sold him to the Ligue 1 club Nice for around 8.5 million euros. And while you might say, why do I care about Todibo? He's not a Barcelona player. Well, the reason you should care about Todibo is because he did really good in the French league and he is about to sign, or it's expected that he's about to sign for Manchester United for around 30 million euros. In Barcelona, when they offloaded him to Nice, they reserved 20% of any future sales. So if Manchester United do end up paying those 30 million euros for the French defender, then Barcelona could cash in on 6 million euros. That's on top of the 8.5 that they already cashed in when they initially offloaded him. Now, 6 million euros during the summer transfer market will be a huge help for the club because Barcelona will be able to use to register more players and also register the incoming players. So that's the 3 bits of excellent news. Inigo Martinez should be healthy by Osasuna. Cancelo flying to Barcelona tomorrow. And finally, Todibo could make us 6 million euros if he joins Manchester United. Let's head back to the chat section and then we will talk about Abde, whose agents were seen in the city of Barcelona today. Okay, let's take this off because we're done talking about Todibo, and let's look at the comment section. Wow, a lot of comments. Welcome everybody, and thank you for waiting for me to begin. Kule says, The reality is that Barca cannot afford Kudus, and Ajax does not want to engage in loan deals or payment installments. Yes, that is correct. I talked about that in yesterday's video. Barcelona attempted to sign Kudus. They couldn't do it because Ajax were asking for a lot of money. But since it looks like the player will be staying in Ajax, Barcelona are still tracking him because they consider that they could still sign him if he stays at Ajax. Not if he goes somewhere else. If he goes somewhere else, he'll probably sign, a 4 or 5 year deal, which puts some out of reach for the club. And Mo says, guys, don't forget to like Mo. Deserves it. Thank you, Mo. Yes, please hit that like button. And really, really helps this channel. It helps YouTube recommend this video to other people who've never seen the channel, which helps the channel continue to grow. Teja says, when are we getting rid of Lenglet? Al Nassr bought Laporte, face purple, crying. Oh, I don't know if you wrote that or if that's YouTube. That's how they translate the actual emoji, but I'm guessing it's the latter. Lenglet, so far, him and Tottenham Hotspur are playing the long game. They're hoping that Barcelona get desperate during the final days and accept that really low ball offer of 5 million euros. Okay, one more, and then we will go head back to the news because there's plenty of news to talk about today. And Nima says, suggestion, put live stream at the beginning of the titles for these videos for the slow learners. Yes, maybe we could do that. And then since Raj is spamming the chat section, he says it's Raj from India. What's up, Raj? How you doing? Okay, let's get back to the news because we got to talk about this guy, Abde. I told you in yesterday's video that Abde was considering leaving. Barcelona felt like he would request an exit during this summer transfer market since he's not really getting a guaranteed starting spot on the squad. Now, Abde has offers from many, many clubs. The most recent one is Bayer Leverkusen, who are willing to offer Barcelona 20 to 25 million euros for the Moroccan winger. And of course, they're also willing to offer him a really good salary and offer him a starting position in their first team. Now, lo and behold, Barcelona were not wrong. They're feeling that Abde could ask for an exit was not completely incorrect, because today his agents traveled to the city of Barcelona where they met with the board of directors at the Barcelona offices. Now, what was discussed? It seems that the agents brought to Barcelona the multiple offers that Abde has from other clubs. It looks like he has a lot of offers, much, much more than what the club initially thought, much, much more than we initially thought. So the player has lots and lots of offers from all kinds of leagues, and they brought those leagues, the offers, to show to Barcelona that there's a lot of interest in the player. Barcelona were kind of a bit confused at first because they were like, okay, what do you want us to do? And then the agents, of course, discussed the fact that Abde, kind of has having doubts about staying in Barcelona. So Barcelona communicated to his agents that they really want the player to stay, that Xabi is impressed with him, that he wants to keep him on the squad, that they're not planning on placing him on the market. However, that if he does leave, it's not going to be because of them. That if he does leave, it's going to be completely up to him and up to his agents, because, again, Barcelona do count on the player. Now, Barcelona still made it clear to the agents that just because they want the player to stay, they still cannot guarantee a starting spot. They cannot guarantee a certain amount of minutes. This is, after all, FC Barcelona. And if you want minutes, you want a spot, you have to fight for it. There's no guarantees for anyone. After this conversation, it looks like Abde's agents were very pleased. And now it's being reported that Abde has decided to stay at the club because of that positive conversation between his agents and Barcelona, where Barcelona assured the player through his agents that they do count on him and that they believe that he's an important player. Now, there is a caveat to this. There always is. But it looks like in bringing these offers to the club, what Abde's agents are looking for is for Barcelona to throw more money at the player. In other words, to renew his contract or extend his contract and offer him a higher salary. Now, this is not a big deal because Abde, after all, does not earn much. He earns very little. because when he was signed as a Barca Athletic player. So his salary is low. So, of course, it is understandable that they do want to raise. So Barcelona will enter negotiations with the player to renew his contract. Not right now. That's not a priority. It's down the road. But for now, it looks like Abde will be staying in Barcelona, and then Barcelona will negotiate a contract extension in order to increase the player's salary down the road. Now, of course, this is based on the words of the agents, but as we've seen before, we cannot rely 100% on the words of representatives and agents of the players. We learned that a million times with Dembélé. So I can only tell you what Barcelona's feeling is regarding the meeting and what the agents are saying for now. But who knows? Maybe there could always be a twist at the end of the market. So don't be surprised if the final day of the market, all of a sudden, Abde decides to leave. That could always happen. But for now, he is staying, and it's reported that it was a positive conversation. Now, let's get back to the chat section, and then we'll talk about Ansu Fati, because his father has also met with Ansu Fati's agent or representative, and I have all the news about what happened or what's going on with that. Okay. Chuchu says, is Inigo Martinez ever going to play? Yes, that's what Barcelona signed him. Barcelona have been trying to sign him actually since last summer, but Athletic Club Bilbao wanted 60 million euros for him. So that's why they did it. Okay, Nima says, I'm glad you're up in your graphics game. Live streams are looking better already. Thank you. I try to make my videos and my live streams, constantly improving on them just so to keep you guys engaged and entertained. So hopefully you appreciate the new streaming software. As soon as I'm done learning how to use it, it's only going to get better, I promise. Okay, Brad says, I'm excited to see what a real right back looks. Yes, I am too, because we haven't had a proper right back in a very, very, very long time. Let's see, what else? Adam says, imagine that after we sign Cancelo, we sign Frimpong. This is a Champions League winning team. What do you think, Mo? I mean, there's no money. Would I love to have Frimpong? Sure. I'd love to have a lot of players out there, but right now, Frimpong is definitely out of reach. Okay. Lucius says, Mo, if you had to replace Xabi, who would you replace? I wouldn't replace Xabi. I think Xabi deserves time with the project, and it's too early to be talking about replacing coaches. Let's see. Emza says, hi, Mo, do you know why they're not trying the new kid Faye since Araujo is injured? Well, Faye, first of all, he's a left-footed center back, so he wouldn't be Araujo's replacement. Araujo's replacement would be either Kunde or Christensen. And as far as playing in the first team, Faye is still not ready. He just arrived in the club. He's never played in the top 5 leagues or in competitive European football. He was playing for that Croatian team, NK something, which I can never say the name. He was only there for a few months. And before that, he was, I think, Senegal. So definitely hasn't had much exposure to European football besides those few months in Croatia. And besides that, even those few months in Croatia, they were still not enough because Croatian league obviously is not La Liga or any of the top leagues. So he still has to adapt. I mean, it is already a big adaptation to go from Croatian league to 3rd division of La Liga. That's already a big jump in skill. So we don't want to then throw him in the first league and expect him to shine. He still has to adapt, to learn the Barcelona style of play, because he's not from the academy, so he doesn't know the Barcelona style of play. So he has to learn that. He has to adapt to European football. So I don't think he's ready yet. I'm sure he will be. He looks like a very, very promising center back. Okay, let's go back and talk about Ansu Fati, because today Ansu Fati's father, Bori Fati, traveled to Portugal in order to discuss Ansu Fati's future with Jorge Mendes. Now, this is very concerning because Jorge Mendes already had a scheduled flight to go to Barcelona because there's several items that he still has to finalize with the club. For example, the contract renewal of Abde, which is mostly done, is just pending a signature. The contract renewal of Lamine Yamal, which is also done, but it's pending signature. And of course, the arrival of Joao Cancelo. So Jorge Mendes was already scheduled to go to Barcelona at the end of this week to finalize those items. But yet, despite that planned trip, Fati saw it fit to travel to Portugal, which gives the vibe kind of urgency. I mean, if Fati cannot even wait one more day to meet with Jorge Mendes in Barcelona, it means that something is going on behind closed doors. Now, what is this something? Well, Fati and Jorge Mendes are still insisting that Ansu Fati needs to leave Barcelona. They think that he will have a much better future and career if he goes at any of the multiple clubs who are interested in the young player. But of course, Ansu Fati is still insistent that he doesn't want to leave and that he wants to stay in Barcelona. Now, as I told you before, Joan Laporta and several members of the board of directors, they also don't want to see Ansu Fati leave. You know, they consider him kind of this crown jewel of La Masia, someone who's been at Barcelona his entire life. La Masia graduate, you know, someone who's a Barcelona player through and through, a Barcelona man through and through. And they think that his exit would be a failure for the club. But more importantly, they consider that Ansu Fati leaving would be sending a bad message to all the players in La Masia, because here we go, one of the best talents to come out of La Masia in a very, very long time. You put him promote him to the first team, you give him the number 10, and then he gets injured. He's only 20 years old, and you get rid of him like that. So they think it would be a bad, bad message to all the players in La Masia. Now, despite that, despite the players' insistence on staying, despite Laporta and several members of the board of directors wanting him to stay, I personally think that the Ansu Fati story is still not over until the market is closed, because again, his father, his agent are insisting that he leaves, and then someone has to leave from the attacking line. And since Abde decided to stay today, since Ferran Torres is not moving, Ansu Fati is the only transferable attacker in the attacking line, because he's the only one who has multiple offers, of course, besides Abde, who has decided to stay, which means that this story is not over. Now, what's going to happen? I don't know. I don't know if Ansu Fati will end up leaving or staying. For now, he wants to stay. Laporta wants him to stay. Xabi doesn't mind if he leaves. His entourage are insisting that he leaves. We're going to see who ends up winning. As I've said many times before, I prefer that Ansu Fati stay. I think he's an incredible, very, very talented player, a very rare talent. We all remember what he was doing before his injury. I know his injury hindered him, but he's starting to look like he's regaining that form. And if he does end up regaining that form, which it looks like he will, we're going to regret it if he ends up leaving, because he's a generational talent and that cost us €0. All right, let's get back to the comment section, and then we'll talk about another generational talent, Lamine Yamal, because I do have some news about him. Okay, let's see. Mohammed says, hi Mo, watch it from Liberia. My first time on your live, and thanks for the update. Awesome. Welcome to the live stream. I hope you enjoy it. I definitely enjoy the live streams. I enjoy the live streams a lot more than making the videos, because I get to interact with you guys versus when I make videos. I'm just a crazy guy talking into his camera with my dog always looking at me like, what is he doing? All right. Let's see. What else? Richard says, if Abde leaves, it's imperative that Ansu stays. We don't need all these midfielders. Mo, don't you think Lewa is hurting the most with a crowded midfield? Yes, if Abde stays, if Abde leaves, Ansu would be imperative for Ansu to stay. I want him to stay regardless. As far as Lewa, no, he's not hurting. Oh, okay, I see what you see. Yes, absolutely. I think the crowded midfield, Xabi's tactics are not favorable for Lewandowski, and that's what people keep forgetting or keep not taking into consideration. You know, all they see is a striker who's not scoring, so they're like, oh, Lewa sucks, we need to sell him. Very logical, very nonsensical. Lewandowski is still one of the best center forwards in the world. He's been at the top of the game for 10 seasons in a row. He was the top scorer in La Liga last season. People already forget about that. That season just ended like 2-3 months ago. People already forgot about that. They want to sell Lewandowski. It's freaking mind-blowing. But what they don't take into consideration, the reason he's not scoring, and by the way, it's only been 2 matches this season. People are acting like he hasn't scored, like it's halfway through the season and he still hasn't scored. Only 2 matches. He hasn't scored because, yes, the tactics do not favor him. The overpopulation of the midfield is collapsing the midfield and not allowing the ball to reach Lewandowski where it's supposed to reach him, which is in the penalty box. Lewandowski is a goal poacher. He's the kind of player who needs to get the ball in the box to score it. When he comes back to the midfield to get the ball, that doesn't favor anyone. And the only reason he's doing that is because he's getting desperate because nobody will get him the ball. So he has to take it into his own hands and come back down and try to get the ball himself. So definitely Xavi's tactics are not favoring Lewandowski's performance. And a proof of that is people are talking about Lewandowski not scoring, but it's not because he's missing chances. I mean, if he was getting the ball and he was like shooting him wide and shooting above the goal and completely missing the target, I'd be like, yeah, this guy sucks. But he's not even getting shots at the goal. And that's because he's not getting the ball. All right, Lucius with the donation. Thank you so much, Lucius. I really appreciate it. Thank you 1,000 times. Thank you. And with that amazing news, let's get back to the news because we have to talk about Lamine Yamal. I just realized I forgot to put Ansu Fati's picture up there, but that's okay. You guys know who Ansu Fati is. Now let's talk about Lamine Yamal because today the Spanish Federation sent emissaries to meet with the player and his entourage because they want to convince him to play for Spain. Now, as you might recall, Lamine Yamal had that incident, that disciplinary incident. I think it was the under-17 Spanish team where they suspended him. And then when that happened, the Morocco Federation saw that as an opportunity and they try to reach out to the player to convince him to play for Morocco because Lamine Yamal also has Moroccan citizenship. And now the Spanish Federation are really trying to convince the player to play for Spain. They consider him as an incredible talent, a generational talent, someone who will definitely make history. And they want him to be part of this restructuring or this new project that the Spanish team are going through. So they've met with him. They're trying to convince him to play for Spain at the professional level. And there's even talks about Spain will be calling up Lamine Yamal during this upcoming FIFA international break. I think it starts September 3rd or something, the beginning weeks of September. And they're looking to call him up to the Spanish national team. That way they can for sure seal his deal because once per FIFA's rules, once you play for the national country, like the actual official professional team, that's it. You cannot switch allegiances. If you play for the lower teams, like the youth teams, you can switch allegiances. That's not a problem. And so far, Lamine Yamal has only played for the youth teams of Spain. So for now, he can't switch allegiances. He could go play for Morocco. But once you play for the senior team, if you may, then that's it. So it's talks about Spain wanting to call him up during this international break so he can play his first professional match with Spain and that way seal his deal. I'm most likely think he will play for Spain. He's played his entire youth with Spain, so I don't see him playing for Morocco. But of course, everything can happen in football. We're gonna have to wait and see whether he gets called up during this international break and whether he answers that call. All right, let's go back to the chat section and then we'll talk about Lo Celso. Yes, I told you there's a lot of news today. And Lo Celso is amongst that. And then we'll talk about Vitor Roque. Oh, my God, we're already at 30 minutes, guys. That's insane. So we'll do only a few comments, and then we'll get back to the news. Let's see. Brad says, outside of his speed, what asset does Abde bring to Barca? Abde brings you that dribbling ability on the wing where he can go through defenders and actually make it all the way to the I'm blanking on the word, but to the back line and make you that crosses. Now, I haven't said that. I'm not saying that Abde is an amazing, excellent player. I think he's a little bit overrated by fans. Not to say he's a bad player. I just don't think he's proven himself yet. I think he has a lot of potential. He has great speed. He has great ball handling. He can definitely rip through defenders, but he has yet to prove himself at Barca. I'm sure he will eventually, but for now, a lot of people are like, oh, Abde the whole summer. Oh, Xavi's an idiot if he doesn't keep Abde. Like everybody's talking like he's Neymar or, I don't know, Lamine Yamal. He's not. But doesn't mean that he can't be. He might. To me, I don't think he's proven himself yet. Okay. Nima says, this team needs at least one more season to gel. Young fans don't remember how legendary teams also took time to be built. Let's not give into the instant gratification culture. Yes, thank you. 1,000 times thank you, Nima. I've been saying this, and I continue to say this. And despite saying this 1,000 and million times, people still are like, we need to fire Xabi. We need to fire this player. We need to get that player. And it's like, no, we don't. We need to keep working with the project that we have. We need to keep improving the project that we have. I'm going to keep building on the project that we have. Yes, Xabi's tactics need to improve. Yes, the teams needs to improve. But scrapping it all and starting all over again, which that's what it means to get a new coach, is not the solution. Otherwise, that's all you're going to keep doing. Every season, you get a new coach. You try it out. It's not going to work out because it never works out the first season. We fire him. We start all over again. Fire that one and fire that one. And 5 seasons, 6 seasons have passed. All your young players are now old, and you haven't accomplished anything, because you're just starting over and over and over and over and over again. This is not FIFA. I think I got to get a sign that says this is not FIFA, this is real life, because I always say this, but yet people, this just doesn't resonate. This is not FIFA, this is real life. Projects do not happen overnight. Manchester City, it took them 6 years to finally win the Champions League. Arsenal, they're in their 3rd year, and they still haven't won anything. You don't see them rushing to fire Arteta. You didn't see Manchester City rushing to fire Pep Guardiola. It's just, projects take time. All right. Let's get back to the news, just because we're already at 32 minutes and we still have 2 more segments of news, and then we'll continue with the comment section at the end. But let's talk about Lo Celso, because it seems that this operation is fizzling out. Now, I talked about how Xabi wanted a creative midfielder, someone that can break through the line, someone who can drive the ball to the box. Of course, his number 1 option was Bernardo Silva, which is impossible given his price. And today, actually, it was announced that he has extended his contract until 2026 with Manchester City. So Xabi Hernandez's second option was Giovanni Lo Celso. Now, Barcelona kind of engaged Tottenham Hotspur to see what's going on, if they could sign him. It was never a priority, so there wasn't like a big push for Barcelona. It was just kind of like an approach, if you may. And of course, Tottenham Hotspur are not only not willing to part, well, they are willing to part with Lo Celso, but not like they're not desperate to get rid of him. But if they are to get rid of him, they wanted a lot of money, which Barcelona were not willing to pay for another midfielder, because they think they have plenty of midfielders, and definitely not for a player that's not a priority. Now, but the Barcelona's other weapon was perhaps to swap out Lenglet for Lo Celso. But since the Lenglet operation is not really moving, with Tottenham Hotspur not really showing any interest or any movements on their behalf, so most likely this operation is not going to happen. It's slowly cooling off, fizzling out, whatever you want to say. But Lo Celso, 99% most likely is not going to happen. I personally don't care. I never thought Lo Celso, I was never excited about Lo Celso. So I don't care that if Barcelona don't bring him. I really think Fermin Lopez should be given more minutes, and he could be kind of like that, occupy that position that Lo Celso would have occupied. But that's my personal opinion. What do I know? I'm not a coach. I'm not a sporting director. But let's get back to the comment section, because later we have to talk about Vitor Roque. I Googled how to say his name properly, and apparently his last name, the R is silent. So it's Vitor Roque. All right. I have this thing where I really like to pronounce people's names right, just because my name was always pronounced wrong growing up. So I hate to do that to other people. Okay, let's see. Where did we leave off? Kerper says, I have just arrived here in the chat. So what's going on with Cancelo and Felix? I don't want to be repetitive. So just when the live stream ends, you may rewatch it. Again, I'll leave chapters, which will allow you to skip through. Okay, let's see. What else? There's a lot of people talking to each other in the chat. I love it. Kule says, Romeo paid part of his transfer from his own pocket. How can you be against his signing? Yes, and plus he's an excellent player. And the fact that we only paid 3.5 million euros for him is an absolute steal. All right. What else? Brad says, of all the wingers on the chopping block, Ansu and Ferran are two of the most impressive this year, regardless of their limited playing time. Yamal is killing it too. Yes, I agree. Man, Ferran has really been working his butt off during the summer. There's talks about he's been doing double sessions every day in the summer. He's been showing up when the team is supposed to be off. He actually came back from vacation early. So, I mean, he's been working out day and night, and I think it's showing. It's showing. It's very impressive what he's doing. And again, Ansu, he's looking like he's recovering his form, which is, of course, it's great news. I want all Barcelona players to do great. Because at the end of the day, if they do great, the team does great. Okay, Adam says, I'd rather see Abde leave and Felix and Fati can stay. Yeah, I guess. Nima says, Mo, do you think Leo might have a mandatory starting position in his contract? I wonder why Xabi doesn't even sub him out. Xabi doesn't, I don't think that he has that clause, but I think Xabi doesn't sub him out because we don't have center forwards. I mean, yes, Ansu Fati could play in that position. Yes, technically Ferran could play in that position, but as far as a specialist, a striker, a poacher, he's the only one, right? It's kind of like a right back position, right? I mean, yes, we have Kunde who covers, we have Araujo who covers, Sergio Roberto who covers, but we don't really have anyone who's a specialist in the right back position. Same with the center forward. Lewandowski is our only one, and he happens to be one of the best in the world, so that's why he doesn't sub him out. Okay, speaking of center forwards, great transition. We have to talk about Vitor Roque because there's a little bit problems brewing with the Seleção or the Brazilian Federation, and there's accusations of favoritism in the Brazilian Federation because in this upcoming international break where the South American World Cup qualifiers will officially kick off for the 2026 World Cup, Brazil have decided to call to the team both Mateus Cunha and Richarlison over Vitor Roque. So Vitor Roque has been snubbed. He hasn't been called up to the Brazilian team. And this is where the accusation of favoritism comes in because Richarlison and Cunha, the two players who have been called up, combined, they have scored 3 goals. Meanwhile, Vitor Roque has scored so far 18 goals. So Vitor Roque alone has 6 times the amount of goals that Richarlison and Cunha have combined, and yet the two of them got called up to the Brazilian squad, and Vitor Roque was snubbed. Now, why did he get snubbed? Well, there's talks about some super agent in Brazil who represents both Richarlison and Cunha, and apparently he wants to put him on a transfer market, and in order to do this, he wants to kind of like showcase them on an international level, have them called up to the Brazilian squad, so they can play some matches, they can show off and maybe increase their interest of other clubs in them, increase their market value. And that's why those two were called up over Vitor Roque, which honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. Things like that happen all the time in South American federations, which is an absolute shame because it shouldn't be about who's going to be placed on the market or whose Asian is who or who has connections or who knows whom. It should be about who is the best. And you tell me who is the best. Is it Vitor Roque, who has scored 18 goals, or Cunha and Richarlison, who together have scored 3 goals? I think it's a pretty simple answer, especially when you're talking about your center forward, whose only job is to score goals. If we're talking about other positions, and you're like, maybe, yeah, well, Vitor Roque scored more goals, but, it's not about the goals. It's about maybe they have better dribbling or no. We're talking about the center forward position. Your main objective is to score goals, and that's it. And you're talking about Vitor Roque has scored 18 versus the other 2 guys scoring 3. Now, this has not sat well with Barcelona, as it shouldn't. And Deco has officially submitted a complaint to the Brazilian Federation because he doesn't understand why these other 2 players were chosen over Vitor Roque. And Barcelona have already made their decision that they will be denying the request of the Brazilian Federation for Vitor Roque to join the pre-Olympic South American tournament in January because number one, that's when Vitor Roque will join Barcelona. So they don't want him to join Barcelona and immediately have to leave to join the pre-Olympic tournament. And number two, because of the favoritism that's going on, this is Barcelona's way of protesting. All right. That's all the news, guys. Let's do a few more comments before we sign off. And as a quick reminder, make sure to hit that like button if you like the live stream so YouTube can recommend it to other people. Okay, let's see. Where did we leave off? Let's see. Emza, he says, I wish to apologize to Ferran Torres. I honestly had lost all hope on him. I thought he was done and he's proven me wrong. I think we all did. You know, I always said that I believed Ferran Torres was a good player, that he was very skilled, that he was really good without the ball. If you ever watch his movements, he's a really, really smart player as far as his positioning, his runs. But the problem was when he got the ball is that he would choke, right? But then people used to make fun of me and say I'm crazy for saying Ferran Torres was good, that I was, they were like, are you joking? He's proven us all wrong because even though I did say that, I've always said, maintained that he's a good player, I still thought that he was never going to be able to overcome the pressure of playing for Barcelona, but he's overcoming it. And I hope he continues to overcome it, and I hope he continues to get better and start scoring goals because, again, I want players to get better. I want them all to shine because it's more important for Barcelona. I don't care about being right or wrong. I care about Barcelona, and if players are doing well, Barcelona is doing well. Okay. Kule says, Lamine Yamal wants to play for Morocco, though, as he should. I don't think that's confirmed that he wants to. And honestly, I don't care. I don't have a horse in the race, whether he plays for Morocco, for Spain, or for China. As long as he plays for Barcelona, I am happy. Okay, let's see. What else? We'll do one more comment, and then we will sign off. Oh my God, this chat moved on me. So I don't know where we left off. Let's see. Nima says, Mo, would you sub Lewa out mid-second half if we're up 2-0? Yes. I think he's 35 years old. We need to start resting him. He can't play 90 minutes of every La Liga match and every Copa del Rey and every Champions League match. If we're up, if we've already scored, yes, sub him out. And even if we haven't, why not? If it's not working out, maybe sub him out and bring in Ferran in his place or Ansu Fati in his place and see maybe they can do something. But yeah, we need to start subbing Lewa more often because he needs rest. He cannot play 90 minutes of every match. Not even if he was young, should he be doing that. Definitely not at 35 years old. All right, guys. That is it for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your comments and your likes. If you haven't hit the like button, go ahead and do so. It's just one click away. And I will see you in tomorrow's video. Hopefully all positive news, lots of positive news today. So hopefully tomorrow will be the same. So have a good night or good morning wherever you are. I will see you tomorrow. And as always, peace, Barça.